Hey, I'm Alex from Zaxwerks, here to show you two more big new features of 3D ProAnimator 8. If you didn't receive the email we're looking at here, sign up for our newsletter using the link below this video. If you want to read through this email, you can find it on our blog at zaxwerks.com/blog. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for all of the latest announcements. Alright, so this is it, ladies and gentlemen, the final feature preview for the release of 3D ProAnimator 8. Aren't you excited? I know I am. Okay, so we've already talked about the first 6 big features of 3D ProAnimator 8. If for some reason you missed a feature or two, you can find email links to the first 3 announcements below this video. Believe me, you will want to discover just how special the reactor rendering system is, along with all the other great new features. Today's 2 big new features are focused on increasing the production quality of your work by making your scene look more interesting. In earlier emails, we revealed features that make your work look more real. Well, these 2 do that too, but in a different way. Today's big new features focus on randomness and texture. The first feature we are going to talk about is the new randomization capability. Alright, so inside the program, here we have 4 guitars. These are just imported OBJ models downloaded off the web. Let's take these guitars and instance them by giving it a random instances time and increasing some of the numbers, and then distribute them into a sphere. And so distribute them into a sphere. There we go. Good. Looks nice so far, but perhaps it's a little too regular. Computers are great at lining things up and making them look perfect, but that's not very interesting. That's where the new randomization controls come in. Now, the simple way to think of this is you can randomize the position, rotation, and scale. But you can do it in any amount along any axis. So when you combine distributions with randomization, you get a really fast way to creating lots of stuff to look at in your scene. Alright, so here we can take our X randomization, just give it a little X, and maybe give it a little some Y and Z, and that just off puts a little bit enough to give it not as quite as perfect as before. And then we can come over here to our local scale, and we can either do local scale, all of them move at the same, or we can come down here and give it a plus or minus scale like that. Look at that. So all of them go smaller or bigger. And then if we don't like this, notice these little dice right here. When I click on this, it gives me different seeds of randomization. So I can come in here and just start clicking them to see if I like or if I don't like what I want. And so there we go. And so then I can go over here to our rotation and give it some X maybe, and some Y and some Z, just to give it super tweak it out. And of course, click the dice again to give it different seeds of randomization. See how fast it is to get our scene to look very organic and floating guitars everywhere. Very cool, incredibly fast. You can see how much freedom this gives you and how fast it is to work with. As with everything in 3D ProAnimator, you can come back to it at any time in the future and continue adjusting, so you're never locked into your decisions. So randomization is big new feature number 7. Now, the last big feature in these sneak peeks that we're going to be revealing is feature number 8. This is normal maps. 3D ProAnimator has always supported bump maps to give your texture realistic bumps and dents. However, normal mapping takes bump mapping to the next level. This right here is a normal map. It's one of those blue and pink pictures like this. Here, right next to it, is what a standard bump map looks like. So it's pretty easy to tell them apart. You have the blue and pink, and you have the white and black with some grays. The thing is that normal maps contain a lot more information than bump maps, so it makes textures react to light differently, and that difference makes the textures look much more realistic. Using a normal map, however, is just as easy as using a bump map. You simply click on this thumbnail right here in the bump channel, and then pick the normal map file that you want. We'll select this one, and then this little checkbox gets checked for you automatically when it recognizes that it is a normal map. And that's it. Now you can drop the material onto any object just like that, and presto, luscious textures. Ooh, ah. Now, because we've upgraded the program to support normal maps, we went ahead and upgraded the material library that comes with the program as well. This means that when you buy 3D ProAnimator 8, you will also receive 200 plus realistic materials with your normal maps, reflection maps, specular maps, transparency maps, and of course your diffuse maps. And so those are all just technical terms for the maps that are used to make this awesome textures. This is a $200 value in itself, and we're including it for free with the program. Yes, this is extra value. So let's look at some examples on how these textures can be used. The nice thing about our materials is that they are all drag and drop. So we can take one of the 200 plus materials from our bin right here, here's our bin, and just drop it onto any one of our objects. Okay, so we can take one of these objects and then try this one. Or maybe try this one. And you see, this is easy drag and drop. And we can keep dragging and dropping them one at a time. So you see there's a lot of freedom to experiment. Once a material has been applied to an object, you can take a material and see its material applied in this material dock, and then you can edit that material just by double clicking on it, and it'll load it into that material editor. Now you can change the settings and see it update in real time on the object itself. So we can mess with the amount of bump, maybe like right here, the bump, make it larger or smaller, and you can see it updating on the actual object as well in the 3D preview window, and then maybe change the color of the material. So we'll come up here to our color channel and change the color, maybe to something like that. There we go. Click the X, and then the color has updated. It's just a really nice way of making your 3D objects and text look extra realistic. And so there you go. Now that we've shown you all 8 of the big new features of 3D ProAnimator 8, we're sure you're squirming in your seat to get your hands on it. Well, we are just as stoked about this release as you are, so you won't have to wait much longer. 3D ProAnimator 8 with the new features, real-time rendering, and over 200 free materials with normal maps will be released mid-next week. So stop waiting on your renders and get ready for the fastest ray trace rendering system in motion graphics. Seriously. So be sure to check your email for the release announcement of 3D ProAnimator 8. I'm Alex Dow, and I will see you next time.